You know who it is, Don Castaneda, expert life coach, recovery coach, intervention professional. I'm going to talk about how AIDS gets transmitted and spread in hospitals, any hospital, even psych wards, mainly psych wards, but also even regular hospitals. I've seen it in the news, and just to refresh your memory, you've probably seen it in the news as well. One of the ways is nurses being incompetent or forgetful or whatever you want to say, but they're basically incompetent, and they'll use the same needle on multiple patients, and one patient has AIDS. Once that needle's infected, other patients get infected once it's reused. For whatever reason, whatever they're doing, phlebotomy, taking blood, or giving shots, or whatever they're doing, that's been in the news. That's happened at VA hospitals. That's happened in civilian hospitals. So that's almost happened to me. Now, I don't know if I would have got AIDS, but a nurse, he probably just got off his lunch break. He's a fat, lazy turd, and all the blood is in his stomach now because he just ate, and he's lazy and he's tired. He wants to go home. He hates his job, whatever the case is. And then he gave someone a shot, and then I was in line to get my medicine, and then he almost gave me this. He's like, "Oh wait, that's the wrong needle," and I wasn't really paying attention either. So it's like he could have got me. So, and you know, they make their mistakes, and I've called them out on it before. Sometimes they'll confuse me with other patients. They'll say, "Oh, you're James Naylor," and no, I'm not James. You know, I'm a Don Castaneda. And it's like, you know, and we didn't have IDs at certain hospitals, so they just guess who you are. They'll be like, "Take your medicine." That's not my medicine. That is not my medicine. Those aren't my pills. All these pills they wanted me to take were someone else's, some other patient. So they do that, and I've actually gotten the wrong medication in my cup of pills before, in hospitals, and whatever it could be for. It could be for hepatitis, it could be for AIDS, it could be for any disorder, you know, and it could have made me worse. It could have made my health decline, or it could have killed me. So another way, especially we're talking about AIDS though, so AIDS and hepatitis, like blood transmitted diseases, how they could get transferred to hospitals very easily is fights. There's a lot of fights in psych wards, and other hospitals, I'm not too sure, but psych wards where I've been at, they one of the patients knew he had HIV. He knew it, so he punched a wall, and he was bleeding on his knuckles, and he was threatening people with AIDS. He was like, "You want HIV? You want HIV?" And he had blood on his knuckles, and he was prepared to fight. And everybody, like, people would back down. They didn't want to fight him with bloody knuckles, knowing that he had HIV. Like, it could easily get spread with, you know, if it gets maybe in your eye or an open wound or your mouth or something. There's different ways. So, you know, you got to be real careful. Another way is rape. Rapes happen in psych wards. There's men who rape other men. Men who rape, like, younger boys, like younger, you know, smaller men who can't really defend themselves. Maybe they're 18. They're still like adult, because the adult psych wards are like adult facilities. They separate the kids and the adults, adolescents and adults. So they'll be like an 18, 20-year-old small, you know, deaf guy who can't talk, defend himself, or tell the doctors what's happening. He can't even really scream for help, you know, and he's being raped by a rapist. This guy who raped some women, well, now he's on a all-male unit, and he has no women to rape, so now he's raping the guys. And he's, you know, he's also paying some of the psych patients. I've talked about this in another video, but one of these psych patients at San Antonio State Hospital, his name's DeVern Williams. He's a rapist, right? He raped some women. He got out of prison years later, and he raped some more women. Now he's in a hospital because he's incompetent to participate in his own treatment. So what he'll do is they gave him a job. They let him make money. So when he makes his money, he'll buy things like soda and candy, and he'll offer that to the patients, and then he'll kind of like coerce them into performing sexual favors for these gifts. You know, so he'll bargain. He'll be like, you know, I got all this food, I got this candy, this soda, you know, and then so, you know, and according to some of the staff and patients, he was in the restroom getting oral sex from another psych patient, another lower functioning. A lot of these psych patients are lower functioning. You know, you don't have very many higher intelligent, you know, psych patients in psych wards. especially due to the fact that, first of all, they're in a psych ward, so they're not that smart. Otherwise, they wouldn't end up there. And then once they get put on all this medication, it dumbs them down. It makes them really slow and lethargic and sleep all day, and you can't really defend yourself with quick decisions or alertness or judgment. So, that's another way. Rapes can happen. And the reason there's CCTVs in psych wards, the reason there's cameras in psych wards, is the same reason that there's body cams on police officers. Body cams on police officers because they're killing people. They kill black people and they kill innocent people, and they get away with it. They would lie. They'll be like, "Oh, I felt threatened. Oh, he had a gun," and they'll plant a gun. Or he rushed me or whatever. He attacked me with a knife. They plant a knife, whatever. But now they have cameras. They can't set everyone up. They're lying all the time. They can't be saying, "Well, I felt threatened." Well, that's not a threat. You weren't threatened at all. This guy's unarmed. He's just standing there, hands behind, handcuffed. They'll kill handcuffed people sometimes. They can't even, Freddie Gray, the police broke this dude's neck. They broke a veteran's neck. Freddie Gray, though, is a famous case. He was handcuffed behind the back. The police broke his neck on camera. They threw him in the back of the van and he died. So that's on camera. I don't know what happened to the cops, but it's much harder these days because of body cams. But so now there's CCTVs in psych wards, so it's harder for the staff to sometimes the staff members would rape the patients, right? They rape the women, or so it's the fights and all that are recorded, but a lot of times the psych patients, they're not too intelligent, but they figure out that you can rape or fight psych patients in the bathroom or in the bedrooms, because they have cameras in the hallways in the day rooms, but they don't have cameras in the bathrooms or the bedrooms. For the most part, most hospitals that I've been at, I've seen in max security psych wards though, beds with straps on them. So you'll be strapped down to a bed, kind of like in a snow angel position or spread eagle position, and you can't do anything. Like the women, that's where they get raped. That's the reason they have CCTV cameras a lot. You ever seen that movie Kill Bill? Kill Bill, he's like, "My name's Buck and I'm here to fuck," and he's trying to rape that Kill Bill woman. So I think she ends up killing him or something like that. But that this is based on kind of like true events. Psych wards are sick. People that get hired as psych wards are not too intelligent. If you're gonna offer me minimum wage, or nowadays it's like $13 an hour in a psych ward as a psychiatric nursing assistant. If I was intelligent, I would get a better job. Obviously, the people working there aren't that intelligent, and I've seen them smuggling drugs for $20, $10, $5, and get high themselves, smuggling alcohol because they need the money. So they're corruptible. They're easily corruptible. So another way that AIDS gets spread is like a woman, a patient, like AIDS and hepatitis and all these diseases, right? Chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, any disease, genital warts, like all this stuff can be transferred because the women there, they're sick. They don't care. They've committed murder, or they've killed a baby, or whatever. They've gotten in fights, they do drugs, all these different things. They've set apartments on fire. They've done a lot of crazy stuff in psych wards, even the women. And if they're diseased, they'll try to get with you. They'll try to get in a relationship with you. They'll try to have sex with you. They'll try to get you to marry them, and then have you make a will out to them so they can get all your shit after they kill you. They'll kill you. And then they'll try to, even if it doesn't work, that's what they think. They think they can kill you, poison you, or maybe even stab you or shoot you, whatever. And then, but there'll be a will, so they get all of your property, they get all your money. They think some guys have money when they really don't, And so what they'll do is they'll reach down in their pants, they'll reach down in their panties, and they'll put their fingers in their vagina, and then they'll put their fingers in your mouth. They'll do this in a day room. They don't care if it's on camera. They'll just grab them. They're mentally ill. So either they're just evil, they know what they're doing, and they're mentally ill. It's like a combination, I think. And they'll just try to spread it on purpose. just like AIDS in a max security psych ward. This guy will smash his head in the corner of a brick wall, and then he'll be bleeding down his face, and he'll just like spread blood all over the walls, all over the floors, and then he'll try to fight people. So whatever he has, he's trying to spread something. So that's another way, right? So another way is like, well, some of these psych patient women, they'll call you, they'll hit you up, they'll try to get with you after you get out. And then even in the psych ward, they try to have sex with you in the psych ward. They'll be like, "Oh, there's not a camera over here. There's a tree blocking the angle. Let's go have sex behind the tree." And some patients will have sex outside in the what do you call it? Like just in the little park area, the outdoor. Even if it's fenced in, it's like outdoors. There's some trees. There's some tables. There's not much. You can walk around in a circle, and that's about it. But there'll be like an area behind a tree that's not covered by a camera angle, and that's where some of the patients knew, and that's where they would have sex. And things are probably being spread. Some of the women will smell up the whole day room like dead fish. They smell so bad, like it's I don't know how that happens. I think they have like I thought they had like chlamydia, or I don't know what they had, syphilis maybe. It's like, it smells so bad. And then one of the guys said he thought it was all smart, this other patient, and he's like, well, their pH balance might be off. Well, their pH balance might be off, but this is incredible. It smells like a ton of dead fish, like 2,000 pounds of dead fish. Dead fish smell up the whole day room. You could smell it like 100 feet away. And they would have to clear out the day room. And one of the patients died. She would smell like that, and then she died a few days later. So that's like a decay, or I don't know. But then another patient started smelling like that. So it's like, well, I don't know if it's a medication or if they're infected. Like, some of these women are prostitutes. I've met prostitutes in like Terrell State Hospital, San Antonio State Hospital, and they're not very they're not like high model, like what do you call it, high end. Like, they're not going to be like extremely attractive. Some of them are, just on the street, on the corner, young, and they just don't know any better, and they're just selling their body, and they're all messed up from crack. Their skin's messed up from smoking crack, smoking meth. Their teeth are messed up, and their brain is just decayed, so they're not even competently really aware of what they're doing, or that it's wrong, or and when they try to get with someone, they're just trying to survive. Really, they're trying to survive. Maybe get someone to give them money or support them, and they don't care that they're spreading HIV or spreading disease or genital warts. Like, there'll be women there who have genital warts. They'll admit it. They'll be like, yeah, I have genital warts, I have herpes and all that, and they'll be like, give me a kiss, and they'll try to physically force you to give them a kiss, and I'll have to like push these women away. I'll be like, no, get away from me. And they'll be threatening to like, do all this crazy stuff, like eat your asshole and everything. So some women are heinous. They're crackheads, crack whores. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but in a psych ward, some of the women, yeah, they need help, and that's why they're there. They're trying to get them better, but they don't listen to me. I tell them, stay away from crack, don't be doing drugs, you can do better, you could get a job, you could go to college, you could have a family, you can make money, you can be, respect your body, respect yourself, get healthy, just get a dog or something like that for companionship, and, take care of yourself, take your medicine. And the main thing to get your awareness and intelligence and competence back is to just stop doing drugs. Stop doing drugs, And that's made a huge difference in a lot of people's lives. I've seen it's made a difference in mine. So, and I feel bad for some of them, but and they can still, have some there's still some women, they're like elderly, 56-year-old women that are very compassionate and nice, and they're more conservative, and but they're more like they'll be very kind, and they'll give me snacks or food, and they don't expect anything in return, just maybe some friendship, So some women are more I guess appropriate. I've seen it. There's some women who are appropriate, but they still they're still psych patients, because even these women, they'll go outside and they'll pick up leaves off the ground and they'll eat leaves, like just dead leaves. They'll think it's good for them. I don't know. It's weird. So I don't know what else kind of stuff they do, but they're good. They're good. They have a good heart, you know, and they care. They care about others, and you know, they'll just. I'll be on my computer. They'll be watching me work. Next thing I know, they're giving me like soda and snacks. I'll be like, no, thanks. You know, I'll try to give them stuff back, but they don't want anything. So you know, there's a woman named Deborah there. She's real cool, and I think you know so. But you know, I'm just saying a lot of times, you know, just you have to be so careful. Don't even go to a psych ward if you can, like just like, you know, get outpatient treatment. You know, uh, it's dangerous in psych wards, right? Not only because of fights, because there's drug overdoses, because there's drugs being smuggled in. You know, there's gangs there that and you'll get molested. Like I've seen it. Some of these prisoners, they're from prison. Like people in psych wards, sometimes they come from prison because they're mentally ill, and they'll molest women and men. They don't care. They're like bisexual, and you know they're abusive, or you know they'll grab a woman's neck, or they'll grab a man's ass, and you know they do all these different things. So you don't want to go to a psych ward, and you know another way, like obviously, if you've ever been to jail or prison, you're gonna know that tattoos, right? I've never seen tattoos in psych wards, but in in jails I've seen it. I've never been in prison, thankfully, but jail is like prison when you're surrounded by former prisoners and convicts and gangs, and psych wards, max security. You know, it's kind of pretty bad. So. You know, they'll get a staple and they'll sharpen it and they'll turn it into a tattoo gun, right? Or they'll just use a staple and stab themselves multiple times and use soot or whatever kind of ink, and they'll tattoo their hands. They'll tattoo people's, you know, whole bodies. There's a lot of prisoners that's what they do. There's nothing else to do in prison. Life is pain, you know. In prison, it's just it's the whole mentality is like painful. Just being stuck there, if you have a life sentence for many years, and you just got to pass time, kill time, and you know. But sometimes AIDS, hepatitis gets transmitted through those needles, through staples, and any sharp object, through shanks if you get stabbed, whatever. But there's been a patient who had hepatitis. He would have died if he didn't get sent to a hospital. He was in prison, so his name was Daryl, right? We'll just call him, I forget his last name, but his name's Daryl. He was at Kerrville State Hospital, and he admitted, he's like, well, I was in prison, and he got a tattoo, and he got hepatitis, and that's how he thinks he got it. It could be like maybe sharing food or drinks, or like saliva, or maybe it was the tattoo needle, right? But he would have died, but he said he basically cut his arm open, and he didn't cut deep enough, but he was bleeding a lot. He was bleeding everywhere. And, you know, he's like, well, I'm trying to kill myself, and I'm hearing voices, and my dead grandma's talking to me, and she's telling me to go this way, in that direction. I'm getting lost. I don't know where to go, and I can't turn these voices off. And so, you know, the doctor, he did that in front of a doctor in a psychiatric evaluation. And they sent him to minimum security state hospitals, Kerrville State Hospital. And once they found out he had hepatitis, they gave him the treatment, which he said was very expensive. It cost like $80,000 or something like that. They had to treat him for a certain amount of months, maybe 4 to 6 months or something, maybe 8 months. But that hepatitis pill was supposedly very expensive. So treatment is expensive. You know, in prison or jail, you don't get your teeth cleaned. Sometimes you don't even get floss. If you have a tooth infection, they'll pull a tooth out, but they're not going to clean your teeth. They're not going to give you a cap, a crown, nothing. They'll just pull teeth out. They don't give you real treatment in prison or psych wards. I mean, prison or, well, not really psych wards either, but prison or jail especially. But you know, if you have you know, any sickness like hepatitis, AIDS, and all that, you're probably going to die. You know, they're not going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands or however much it costs to save a convict's life or prisoner's life. Someone who committed some offense against society. They don't care. They're not going to get taxes to pay for that. Taxes are going to pay the guard salaries, you know, the cop salaries. They don't want to pay that much for the prisoners. So your job is to get out, make a life for yourself, and stay out. You know. So one of the ways to escape prison, escape jail, like I escaped jail. I went to a psych ward. That's pretty much escaping. I didn't go to prison. I was facing pretty much life in prison. But if anyone in prison, if you're in prison, how to get out of prison, it's not easy, because if you commit a violent offense, they have psych wards in prison where it's bad. That's where a lot of stabbings happen, because all the crazy people are there and they're wild and they don't care. They're probably still in gangs and all that. They'll kill anyone. They don't care. And they're all infected and they're giving them drugs like crazy. So you end up in a psych ward prison, a prison psych ward. They're gonna drug you the fuck up. They're gonna make you messed up, drugged up. You're gonna be drooling, defecating yourself. You will probably die, like, in a few years. I would say if they really want to, they're gonna knock off 20, 30 years off your life. Some of these drugs, like clozapine, have killed over 7,000 patients, because it slows your organs down so much that some people just die from it. It's too powerful. It's basically like fentanyl. It's like an elephant tranquilizer, and it's used in some medicine for extreme pain. It's like ketamine. It's like there's certain you have to be in extreme pain. Like if a soldier gets his leg blown off and he's in severe pain, fentanyl would be like a medicine for that severe pain. So clozapine is something similar to that power, that kind of medicinal strength, to where if you're mentally ill, it's gonna make you, no matter who you are, or it's so powerful that they don't even have an injectable version, because they know doctors will abuse it. Maybe it's hard to make, but I think because they know that it's too easily abused, and it's so powerful that it's only a pill form and liquid form, to make sure so you can orally take it, but you can refuse. They can't really hold you down and force feed you every single day. That's why they have injections, so they could just hold you down, give you a shot, and it's good for 30 days, usually a month, right? Some of these injections are good for like 30 or 90 days, maybe 6 months or something like that, like Sustenna and Vegatrenza or something like that. They have these long-acting drugs that they kind of burn, but they last like 3 to 6 months. But clozapine will only last about a day, right? So it gets at it. So you gotta take a pill every single day. But if you refuse, they can't make you take it. So they gotta put you on something. They'll probably put you on Prolixin. That's a hardcore medication. You'll gain a lot of weight. You'll gain so much weight on Zyprexa, Prolixin. Lithium will mess up your heart. And all these different Latuda will put you in a lot of pain. The pain in your legs, give you akathisia, make you pace around and sweat all day. And it's suffering. It's like torture. But some of these pills like Seroquel and all that, you'll gain so much weight. I've seen it. It's happened to me. That you can't even wipe your own ass. You're so big, you can't even reach around to wipe your own ass after you shit. So some of these pills, it's like, is that really supposed to make you like a better member of society? Are you supposed to be able to function, be smart and intelligent? They're really just torture medications. You committed a crime, we're going to punish you. Take these drugs, we're going to call it medicine. It's just psychological warfare. So stay out of psych wards, don't get AIDS, don't mess around with the women. There's no reason why any competent man or woman should be with a psychiatric patient in a hospital. They should. It's not an area for dating. I know in college, like in school, college, middle school, high school, college, people meet, they connect, they date, and sometimes they get married and have kids and all that. They meet there. But psych ward is not a place to meet. People meet at church, people meet at Starbucks, people meet in the mall. People do not need to be meeting in psych wards. They actually try to prevent that from happening. If people start holding hands or having relationships, they block them off. It's almost like spraying a dog with a hose, like get off. But they'll be like, you can't be with them. They'll separate them. You can't be touching. You can't be kissing. You can't be doing nothing. But all you can do is really talk. So you can talk things out. But when I left, I'm like, hey, I'm cutting off everybody, changing my phone number, all that. I had some people try to find me, but I just continued changing my number, changing my information, and just make it more difficult. And they just eventually give up. Because I don't want to do drugs. I don't want to get high. I don't want to kill my brain cells. I don't feel like dying on laced fentanyl. I don't want to have a heart attack from crack. That's retarded. That didn't even make sense. That's stupid. So, and I don't want AIDS. I don't want to get gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis, genital herpes, genital warts. I don't want any of that. So, it's sad that a lot of the patients suffer from that, and that, they don't know any better, but they're kind of evil in trying to spread it, right? So, they have some knowledge in what they're doing, and the doctors just watch. It's like a game for them. The staff just watch. They have to be around it, but they're not really targeted because they have a level of authority. So a lot of psych patients, they just see that level of authority, and they just, try to mess with the other patients. A lot of times staff is protected because, a lot of male psych patients will be protective of the staff, right? It's called Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome, you have this, you feel indebted to your captor, right? So there are captors in jail. The guards, the cops, our captors. We're prisoners, we're hostages, and same psych ward. We're hostages, we're prisoners, we're inmates, we're psych patients, and our captors are the psych nurses and psych doctors. And some prisoners and psych patients feel indebted to the cops, guards, and doctors because they give us food. We have a little home. We have a toilet, a shitter, a shower. We get food. We can walk around, watch TV. We get medicine. They're treating us. Once you get out, you can get on disability like Social Security. So they feel indebted to these people. So they'll try to be protective of them, and that gets them rewards sometimes. Sometimes it gets them treats like sandwiches or cookies or another meal or double portions or something like that, right? And maybe it just gives them like props. Sometimes they give them acknowledgement and makes them feel good. So and that's good. I kind of support that a little bit. I know it's a little bit corrupt, but some of the women there, they're just trying to work, have a job. They're not too intelligent, otherwise they wouldn't be there. And there's a lot of violent predators and violent offenders there that they need to be protected from. Whether it's verbally or spiritually or emotionally or sometimes physically. So even smuggling in money sometimes, and I've done this in psych wards, and smuggling in money, giving it to the staff, and offering, having certain bribes go on. But it's a form of protection as well, because if you give anyone money, when you tip a bartender, when you tip a waitress, when you tip a Starbucks barista, they need that to pay their bills. So you're kind of protecting them in a financial sense. So when I would give money to these nurses and on the psych ward, it's kind of being a form of protection. So they could afford groceries, they could afford bills. Some of them had babies, and they're just trying to make ends meet. So they'd be really thankful, grateful, and they try to make life easier for myself and maybe some other people who do the same thing. So that's another thing. If you can, sometimes you really have to bribe the nurses. You can't really bribe the doctors because they make $100,000 or $200,000 a year. But sometimes you can bribe the nurses. They have a lot of say. They could just say something and have you drugged up. They could be like, "Oh, he's medic." The doctors will believe it. They'll drug you up. So they could say, "Oh, this patient is not aggressive." If you pay them, right, $20, $50, $100, something like that, at least. And then so you pay a nurse, psychiatric nursing assistant, PNA, and they might say that you're not violent, you should be transferred to another unit, a better unit with more privileges. You need to be away from certain patients, or you should have certain privileges. You should have your computer, MP3 player, a phone, etc. You could try to negotiate. It's really negotiation, right? It's a negotiation. And not everybody has to know about it, but that's just the way it works, So you got to figure that out, and sometimes they'll put in a good word in for you, right? You're just you wouldn't be intelligent if you weren't even making this offer. So it says something a little bit to your character, as long as you're not doing anything too extreme or too dark or too twisted or anything illegal, right? You're just trying to make a better life for yourself, trying to get out and take care of your family. So just be careful. That's the video for today. I hope you got some information from this. If you enjoy this content, subscribe. I'll try to, make more videos with memory recollection, things I can remember, trips down memory lane, and things about my past in psych wards and jails that I've experienced. So this is one of those videos. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe and take care.